It's time now for the FloydHSFootball.com Friday Night Scoreboard live on FloydHSFootball.com. Download the Spreaker app on your phone to report your scores or tweet them to us on Twitter at FLAHSFootball. The FloydHSFootball.com Friday Night Scoreboard is brought to you by ScoreStream, Legacy Team Sales, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association, and the Florida 7v7 Association. Going into his 9th season as the owner and publisher of FloydHSFootball.com, here is your host, Josh Wilson.
All right, week 3 here in the Sunshine State. We actually have a week 3 this week, because a lot of y'all remember what we were doing this time last year. We were getting prepared for a hurricane, but we're not doing that this week. Although the tropics are heating up, but we're not going to worry about that right now. All those storms out there, they can just stay away. We don't need anything this year. We're smooth sailing into the season right now. Week 3 here on the FloydHSFootball.com Friday Night Scoreboard. Josh Wilson here along with everybody else around the state. We'll have some of our media callers as we usually do each and every week. A lot going on around the Sunshine State. I'm going to say this, there's some upsets here. There's some interesting things that have gone on, and actually there's some good stuff in this. I mean, I'm going to say this thing, I'm going to actually try to go ahead and get David Veronis, from the South Florida Sun Sentinel, get him on and talk about the victory tonight that Stoneman Douglas. Stoneman Douglas is 2-0. I mean, you know, a lot of people are going to be following that story this year with Stoneman Douglas. You know, it's they're playing in tribute to the 17 lives that were lost back on February 14th in this tragedy in Parkland, and tonight there's a good storyline behind it. They won last week at the Freedom Bowl against St. Martin's out of Canada. They won that game. Tonight they win again, but there's something magical about what happened, and I'm not going to get into it right this second, but once I get David Veronis on the line, we'll talk about the thing about the score tonight, because there's a significant meaning in it, and I think it's pretty cool to talk about this a little bit. But we'll get the other guys on, Corey Davis, Marty Palmer, and we'll get them on. We'll talk about some of the other guys. There's a thing, was looking at the top 25 scoreboard. The biggest game this week was number 1 Miami Carroll City versus number 6 Columbus. How many of y'all out there probably would have figured, oh, this would be a great game, going to be very close, going to be maybe come down to the wire? A lot of y'all probably thought that. But if you thought it was going to go to a blowout, someone probably take my money, because I would have never thought that. And tonight, what happens? Miami Carroll City 35, Columbus 0. Yeah, number 1 versus number 6. Number 1 Miami Carroll City 35, Columbus 0. That is the final score. That's, I would say that is probably not indicative of looking at things. And, well, what do you know? I'm looking at something else right now. Wekiva has come back on Winter Park, has trailed most of this game, and now they lead 25-22. I'm curious. You know, because Wekiva started off 2-0, I'm kind of wondering. Columbus is number 1 in our 8A rankings. They're going to be out of the number 1 ranking. They'll still be ranked in Class 8A. But does Wekiva deserve that number 1 spot in Class 8A? That is going to be the big question, because I don't like how the thought that they've had to come from behind and they've had to play from behind all game against Winter Park, and I don't know if that's deserving a number 1 spot, especially if they do go ahead and pull out the win here, 25-22. I mean, I'm hoping that I can talk to J.C. Carnahan tonight as well from the Orlando Sentinel, but that's his game. He's still on the assignment, and he's got deadline first, so we'll get that on the thing. Another game that was of interest that I was really kind of following tonight was St. Augustine Ponte Vedra, considering that St. Augustine lost last week 62-28 to Menendez. That's their first loss in 18 games to Menendez, in the series history. And tonight, Ponte Vedra pulls out a 21-14 win. So at this particular point, we're starting to see some upset trains here roll around the block. It's teams going down, maybe that they shouldn't. Actually, and I'm looking at one right now. Number 13 South Dade is up on number 15 Miami Northwestern 20-18. So there we've got that right there, fluctuating right there. So South Dade is actually starting to flex a muscle, which is actually pretty good. In a way, and it's nice to see South Florida kind of try to work things out. And it looks like, according to Larry Savage at the Gainesville Sun, number 5 Columbia has defeated Buchholz 39-0. So that is going to be the final score there on that one. So let's take a look at some of these other top 25 scores we've got going on. We've got some finals here across the board as we get into the show here. Number 4, Trinity Christian, over Terry Parker, 44-0. Number 11, Plant falls to Armwood, 21-18 tonight. We had a story about the Dark Panther helmets that they wore tonight with their new blackout uniforms. We've got that on FloridaHSFootball.com, so you go on the homepage, you find that story there. With all that, number 14 Vanguard 20-14 over North Marion. Number 25 Kissimmee Osceola 34-14 over Vieira. Number 22, Delray Beach Atlantic, 35-21 over Pahokee. Number 18, Clearwater Central Catholic, 34-14 over Tampa Catholic. Number 17, Godby, 14-11 over Lake Mary. Number 21, Robert E. Lee, 38-13 winner over Mandarin. Number 19, Apopka falls tonight at home to number 9, Lakeland, 37-20. Apopka did lose a key player last week in the Bartram Trail game, and I'll tell you, that did hurt a little bit because this game probably should have been a little bit closer, but Lakeland walks out with a big victory, 17-point victory over the Blue Darters in Apopka tonight. How about this one? This one seems to look like a baseball game gone bad. Number 8 American Heritage 11, Miramar 3. Yeah, 11-3. That seems like a baseball game that may have gone bad, not a football game. 11 points. That's a little crazy, but. It is what it is right there on that one. Number 10, Vero Beach, 44-0 over Dr. Crop. Number 2, St. Thomas Aquinas, 62-0 over Flanagan. They were up 35-0 in the first quarter, people. That was no contest there tonight. And again, as we said as I opened the show, number 1, Miami Carroll City, a 35-0 winner over number 6, Columbus in that game. Number 23, University School, 52-14 over Everglades Prep. Right now, number 16, Tampa Bay Tech is up 16-0 on Sickles. And the last one I was told was they were up 2-0 at halftime on Sickles. So and they might be struggling just a little bit here tonight, the Titans out of Tampa Bay Tech. Number 13 South Dade up 20-18 on number 15 Miami Northwestern in the fourth quarter. Number 20 Chaminade Madonna, we've got a 38-0 score for them over Blanche Ely in the fourth quarter. Number 7 Wekiva up 25-22 on Winter Park in the fourth quarter. And again, last night, number 24, Reigns, runs all over Ed White, 48-6. So that's a look at the top 25 scoreboard. And actually, we do have one game tomorrow with our top 25 teams, and that is actually 2 of them. My mistake. Number 3, Miami Central at St. John's College up in Washington, D.C. That game is a 2 o'clock game tomorrow, and St. John's College nationally ranked, and then number 12, Deerfield Beach at Westlake, Georgia tomorrow night as well. So 2 games involving the top 25 teams tomorrow on the Saturday slate in the Sunshine State. So I'll get Marty Palm on the call in, get Corey Davis. We'll look at some of these other games here that we've got going on, and trying to get some of the other guys to call in, but a lot going on right now. Around the Sunshine State, again, some of these scores going on, trying to look at it, and it is finally official, Wekiva 25, Winter Park 22, so Wekiva comes back. Chiefland, how about this one? Chiefland is flexing a muscle. Chiefland's going to get consideration for the rankings now in Class 1A. Chiefland 37, Lafayette 14. That is a final score. To be surprised, say I'm not surprised by that. Chiefland's been looking pretty good the past 2 weeks. They took down Trenton, shut them out, had it easy with Brantford last week. now this week they had a team that I have in the honorable mentions right now in Lafayette. Chiefland's going to get consideration. I am actually going to see what's going on with taking a look at what Dixie County did, because I did not get a confirmation if the score was final or not with Baldwin, and that was into a shootout there in Cross City tonight. And we'll take a look and see what the Baldwin Athletics account has to say about that one right here. Okay, they have not updated, but let me check another account, because we have trying to actually see here, because a lot going on. Let me see if I can actually pull up something here, because this is Baldwin Dixie County, because this one was in a shootout earlier. I'm trying to take a look. Okay, here we go. Right now, from my understanding, is that the game is not final yet out there in Cross City, but Baldwin is up 50-43 on Dixie County. So that's a pretty good, healthy barn burner matchup there in Cross City. And Baldwin was I was giving Baldwin consideration in the Class 3A rankings. They may move to 3-0 tonight, and that might take Dixie County back out of the 1A rankings and the honorable mention status. That may put Chiefland and Dixie will meet up later in the season. So we're talking that these matchups do matter, and with the point system, every single week matters. Let's just reiterate that right now. A lot of this is non-district games, non-regional games, and stuff like that. These games matter. Don't look at if it says a district game in the higher classifications. That's not it. Don't even look at it that way. These games matter. All 10 games matter in the course of 11 weeks. This is how it rolls in Florida now. And hey, all you have to do is win by one. All you have to do is have the higher point total on the scoreboard. That's how it works here in the Sunshine State. Now, looking at a couple of things here, trying to see what else is going on real quick, because I've got some other scores flying in off the thing. I know that this one comes across. Barron Collier 44, Immokalee 33. I don't know what's going on down in Immokalee. I don't know what's going on. Because Immokalee was highly touted to be really one of the best top teams in 5A this year, and they're 0-3. They lost to Golden Gate coming out of the gate in week 1. They lost to University School last week, and now they've lost to Barron Collier. They're 0-3. They could still win their district, get in the playoffs, and make a run and get hot, but they've got some issues apparently at quarterback. It's not whatever's going on outside of that. It's not going well for the Indians right now. So we'll have to take a look and see what's going on here. Let's take a look at that. Jesuit 35, Steinbrenner 10. That is a final score there. Let's take a look at some scores right now. I'm going to jump into the Big Bend region. We'll hold off the Panhandle for right this second, but we'll jump over into the Big Bend region to take a look at some of the scores there, because there was another good game going on, and maybe if I can get Brian Miller from the Tallahassee Democrat to call in, that would be a great. I know that last I saw that Florida High was up 17-7 on Madison County. Florida High ranked number 3 on our Class 3A rankings. Madison County ranked number 1. This would be a huge win for Florida High. Now, the question is, can it jump Florida High in the Class 3A rankings? That's a potential. I'll say it this way. It's tight in the 3A rankings, because you've got Clearwater Central Catholic, you've got Chaminade-Madonna, you've got Florida High, you've got these 3 teams in the mix, in the top 3. Then you've got Delray Beach, American Heritage, you got Kings Academy, and those, and down at the bottom, last 2 of those scores. I have to look, because this would be a huge win. If Florida High wins, they could jump. And that's what I want to see, is if they pull this one out. And actually, I'm going to think Tampa Bay Tech 19, Sickles 6. So that is a final score now. Actually, I'm going to check on that game right now with Brian Miller from the Tallahassee Democrat, see what he has to say, see what the latest tweets are sitting up there right now. Lighthouse Private Christian Academy 53-6 over St. John Paul II out of Tallahassee. That's a final score there. Florida High is up 17-13 in the third quarter. That was as of 13 minutes ago. So right now it's a pretty tight ball game at Florida High in Tallahassee right now. So that we got that right there in that situation. and all that. Taking a look at some of the final scores in the Big Bend. Sandalwood 41, Leon 16. That is a final there. Bell picks up a win tonight. Surprisingly, Franklin County was favored pretty heavily in the Joe Pinko's ratings this week, and Bell takes the win 20-13 at home. Gabi 14-11 over Lake Mary. Lincoln 75-zip over Hudson. Now, I mean, I tell you, I'm not surprised by that at all. So that's no surprise there tonight. Port St. Joe 27-0 over Bay. North Florida Christian bounces back and wins 35-7 over Valwood School out of Georgia. Childs 28-7 over Rickards. That is a final there, and we've still got some games outstanding. There was some weather issues over in the Big Bend with some storms tonight, so that's we're waiting on some of these games to go final out there in the Big Bend area around Tallahassee. Jumping over to North Central Florida here real quick. Actually, we've got a bunch of finals in the North Central Florida region. Lake Weir 45-6 over Eustis. Eastside 64-0 over Brooksville Central. Union County 43-9 over Interlochen. Oak Hall 45-6 over Bronson. Fort White 43-6 over Santa Fe. Bradford 28-14 over Keystone Heights. Trinity Catholic 46-14 over Stanton out of Jacksonville. Hawthorne 51-20 over PK Young. Hawthorne now remains as the only undefeated team in Alachua County. Forest out of Ocala 32-26 over Mount Dora. And Baldwin, it is a confirmed final. Baldwin 50, Dixie County 43. That is a confirmed final now out of Cross City on that game. South Sumter 42-6 over Trenton. Swanee 47-0 over Hamilton County. Legacy Charter 43-0 over Ocala Christian. Westport 42-14 over Citrus. Columbia a 39-0 winner over Buchholz. Chiefland 37-14 over Lafayette. Vanguard 20-14 over North Marion. Lakewood a 12-6 winner in overtime over Dunellen, and Palaca 47-7 over Bellevue. And remember, all of our scores are powered by ScoreStream. You can check them out online at scorestream.com. You can download the app on your phone, on your Android or iOS device. Just search for ScoreStream in your respective app store, and you can help us download the scores. You can also report scores to us on Twitter at FLAHS Football. And looking at it right now, it looks like Crystal River has beaten South Lake 45-40 in a barn burner in Crystal River. Braden River 41-31 over Manatee. These are some scores I'm just coming in from Scott Lockwood at the Sarasota Herald Tribune reporting that score. And I know Venice and Charlotte were going at it tonight, and we'll see about that game going on. A lot going on around the Sunshine States tonight here, and we'll get some of our media callers in. I'm going to try to check in some of our guys here as they thing going on with the show here as we keep going here into the night. A lot going on. It's week 3. Hey, I'm glad we're actually having week 3. Like I said, as I mentioned at the start of the show, we don't have to deal with a hurricane this week. Thank you, because. Yeah, I mean, and I was fearful if we end up having an issue like that this year. You know, what would it mean for the point system in here? And you know, I mean, last year being the test, it really put a test on the point system with the FHAA, but it worked out in favor of a lot of things. But this year, hopefully, that everybody gets their full slate of games, and that's what we want, and that's how we want it to see and work here. But looking at data and all that, but how about this? We'll take a break. Try to get some of our callers along. Hopefully, I get Corey Davis. They were at the Lee Mandarin game in Jacksonville. That game was being streamed on the Prep Zone channel on the NFHS network. Corey Davis and Andre Ellis on the call on that one. And then talk to Marty Paulman from 1010XL 92.5 in Jacksonville, the voice of the Bishop Kenny Crusaders. Yeah, it was a kind of a sloppy night, I would say, between Bishop Kenny and Nice, but we'll talk to Marty about that, talk about some of the area scores in the Jacksonville area. We'll get to the Panhandle later since we're still waiting because, Central Time Zone, we're 1 hour ahead with the games out there in the Panhandle, some games going on out there, but we'll hit all parts of the state tonight and get you your scores here on the FloridaHSFootball.com Friday Night Scoreboard. So, we'll take a break. We'll come back, and we'll get some of our media guys on the line, including David Ferronis from the South Florida Sun Sentinel, Marty Palm, and Corey Davis. We'll get some other guys. Get Apopka John Puri from the Apopka Chief. We'll talk to him, so we'll talk about that game with Lakeland and Apopka as well. So, all right, we're going to take a break here. We'll be back in about 4 minutes here on the FloorHSFootball.com Friday Night Scoreboard. Stay tuned.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with, from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloorHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. FloorHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloorHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with, from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
FloorHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
All right, welcome back here to the Friday Night Scoreboard here on FloatHSFootball.com. Josh Wilson here, Week 3 in Sunshine State. Lot going on. Starting to take a look at some scores over in the East Central Florida part of the state. Volusia County, Lake County, Seminole, that part of the Sunshine State. Flagler County as well. Yes, indeed. Some good games that have been played tonight. Some surprises, some not so surprises. But, hey, things are looking good for a few teams. DeLand, 31, Deltona 14. I'm about to say, I think that DeLand is actually for real right now. DeLand, 3-0 out of the gate. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean... If I might check in with Doug Pugh and see if he'll give a call in, because I know Doug Pugh is going to be very, very happy with his DeLand Bulldogs. And we'll try to figure out if he wants to call in or not. See if I can actually I'll just send him a text message right now. The beauties of live radio online. Orange City University 29-6 over Leesburg. Tavares 37-0 over Umatilla. Sanford Seminole 21-0 over Flagler Palm Coast. The Villages moves to 3-0, 39-14 over Pearson Taylor. Lake Mineola 26-13 over Lyman. Mainland picks up their first win tonight, 36-22 over Treasure Coast. Oviedo 44-23 over Haggerty. Godby 14-11 over Lake Mary. Crystal River 45-40 over South Lake. Halifax Academy falls tonight to Cocoa Beach 33-20. Mount Dora falls tonight to Forest 32-26. Spruce Creek 34-3 over Matanzas. Father Lopez a 12-3 winner over Satellite. The Masters Academy out of Oviedo, which we have ranked in the top 3 in our Sunshine State Athletic Conference rankings right now on FloatHSFootball.com. 52-21 over Orangewood Christian. Deltona Trinity Christian 42-7 over Cornerstone Charter. Wildwood 20-16 over Mount Dora Christian. Lake Cal 14-0 over Winter Springs. Oak Galley, we're going to find out at the Oak Galley Seabreeze game. We've got a couple other scores sitting out there tonight, and we'll find out on these scores as well. Episcopal is actually not hosting Winter Christian tonight, but they were hosting Jordan Christian Prep, and hopefully we'll find a score out on that one as well in all of that. And trying to actually see what's going on. Hopefully we'll get some of these media guys to call in. There's been some things. Some of these guys are on deadline, so we'll figure out thing going on. Actually going to dive into Orlando Metro section, and actually I got Celebration 36 over Orlando Cypress Creek 30. That is a final, thanks to the School District of Osceola County and their athletic department for reporting that score to us here on FloatHSFootball.com. And diving into the Orlando Metro region as we pull it up here, our scores powered by ScoreStream. You can check them out online at ScoreStream.com, and you can download the app from your respective app store on Android or iOS. Just search for ScoreStream. And taking a look at the scores from the Orlando metro area: First Academy 20-15 over Orlando Christian Prep. Timber Creek 16-3 over East River Trinity Christian. 42-7 over Cornerstone Charter. West Orange takes back the Orange Crate. I'm going to say it right. The Orange Crate is coming back home to Winter Garden. 31-28 over Dr. Phillips. Dr. Phillips 1-2 to start up the season. I mean, to be honest with you, this is a little sluggish. They beat Timber Creek last week, but this week they didn't play well at Lee County, Georgia, week 1. Here they are. They struggled almost all night and just came back on West Orange, and here they are 1-2. I mean, this is a defending state champion. I'm kind of wondering what's going on with them, but we'll see Apopka John Perry from the Apopka Chief. He's also a correspondent with the Orlando Sentinel. He's supposed to be calling in here at any moment, so we'll get him to call in, and we'll talk to him as well. So a lot going on there. He had the Apopka Lakeland game, and he'll call in. David Feronas, hopefully we'll have him calling in. Corey Davis, Marty Palman. We'll start to get the calls going on here in a few minutes here on the FloatHSFootball.com Friday Night Scoreboard. A lot again going on. thing. I'm actually going to give Doug I think this is again trying to feel method. Thing and we'll get Doug to call in here as well in a few minutes. So anyways, looking at some other scores, Wekiva comes back to beat Winter Park 25-22. The Masters Academy out of Oviedo 52-21 over Orangewood Christian. University out of Orlando 35-21 over Windermere out of Windermere High School. Foundation Academy 30-0 over Bradenton Christian. Lake Weir 45-6 over Eustis. Edgewater 49-21 over Olympia. Boone 21-20 over Ocoee. Oak Ridge 42-8 over Evans. Kissimmee Gateway 19-6 over St. Cloud. Kissimmee Osceola 34-14 over Viera. Viera 0-3 on the season. That's a little surprising. I would think it's something here. Trying to see what's going on. Okay, for some reason the Skype line is not try to see. Did you try to ask him to try to find out from Apopka John and see if he just tried to call, because apparently with the phone line it's something that's just forwarding right to my cell phone instead of going to the other line, which if trying to figure out here and see what's going on here, why the calls are not going through. Sometimes it just, for some reason, whatever it is with Skype, for some reason it just forwards the calls without even ringing the main line itself. So we'll have to see what's going on here and try to get him to call in if that's the case. If that's the call, I will actually dial him out, and then we'll actually get him on the line here in just a moment here. So, okay, let me see. Yep, that was him. Let me go ahead and dial in the thing here real quick here, and we're going to do it this way here in just a moment here. So, if it'll let me pull the dial pad up. That's the thing. Gotta love technology. That's the thing. There we go. There we go. So we're gonna get a Apopka John. All right. So 40 thing. Go ahead and dial this number out here. All right. Let's see. We'll go ahead and. And we're dialing out, so we'll figure it out here in a moment. Hey, John, what's up, man? How you doing?
All right, sir. How are you?
Doing all right. Well, I appreciate you giving me a few minutes of your time here. You can follow him on Twitter, Apopka John Perry from the Apopka Chief, also the Orlando Sentinel correspondent. John, I mean, I know that tonight was a big night in Apopka for the Blue Darters. Hosting Lakeland, a top 25 matchup in the state. I mean, I guess it's at the end it just didn't go the Blue Darters' way. What kind of thing? I mean, I guess the injury from last week may have played a role in this game.
I'm sure it did somewhat, but it was more special teams issues for Apopka in the first half, and then frankly, Lakeland just I don't say dominated in the second half, but controlled the ball, was able to at least slow down Apopka's rushing game. Last week against Barton Trail, Apopka rushed for a school record 615 yards, had 151, I believe it was, this week. So, certainly knew the number would come way down. Apopka's had a great drive to open the game, 8 minutes, 7 seconds, I believe, from the opening kickoff, scored high snap on the extra point, 6-0. Apopka's kickoff coverage has been getting worse lately, and it showed as Lakeland returned the kickoff 78 yards, and all of a sudden, 18 seconds later, had a 7-6 lead. So, bottom line is, and then Lakeland blocked the punt later in the first half, only Apopka 2. And then 1 play later, they scored. So those first two scores were one was a special teams score, and the other was set up by special teams. So Apopka was lamenting that, and then the second half, Lakeland started running the ball, doing just a zone read with Sky McWilliams, the quarterback, and DeMarcus Bowman, the running back, and that was pretty effective. Popka was able to get a couple touchdowns actually got 3 touchdowns from running back Akeem Brown, who seemed to get a lot of the carries that Jacorian Davis Hamilton would have had, who was hurt last week and lost for the season with an ACL MCL tear against Bartram Trail.
I mean, and all of that, I mean, I know that this now, it's looking at it, it's just the Blue Darters back again, 2-1 on the season, I mean, what at this particular point, what do you say besides the special teams? Where does Apopka have to do in order to, to basically get back on track on the winning path at this particular point now?
Well, I would say just cut down on the mistakes. They made some uncharacteristic mistakes, and maybe you have to give Lakeland some credit there. Popka tried in the second half when things were getting a little desperate, Popka tried a Statue of Liberty play, which they've run successfully through the years, but fumbled on that, and that gave Lakeland possession. And even there, Lakeland, the Zipperer kid, the big tight end, went up and got on a third down pass. Right after that, scored a touchdown on a really nice catch, Keon Zipperer, and a 13-yard pass play from Sky McWilliams, and he put it up there where nobody else could get it, and Zipperer is just a large young man, and came down with soft hands and came down with a touchdown, and that this was after the Apopka fumble. So, Apopka mistakes, Lakeland took advantage of them. And good teams do that. Of course, the game featured, the 2 head coaches. Popka's Rick Darlington played for Bill Castle, who's been there for 42 years now. And Darlington was an 83 graduate of Lakeland High School and self-described not very good offensive lineman, but learned a lot, obviously, under Bill Castle and got his coaching start as an assistant after Darlington graduated from Stetson. And, went on to actually be defensive coordinator at Lakeland before he moved on to become a head coach. And so, despite all the offensive firepower that Apopka normally has, Darlington was at one time a defensive coordinator for Bill Castle many years ago.
Yeah, I mean, and the tree is the tree that for Coach Castle is definitely very big, and also for Coach Darlington himself. I mean, I know you weren't, and I know you covering the big game tonight with Apopka, but I know you were keeping tabs on Wekiva, and I have to say I was a little surprised with the way Wekiva played tonight, having to come back and win that game against Winter Park. That after especially coming out the way that especially getting a big win last week up in Georgia, to come out like that, that's I say I was a little surprised. Were you surprised by that as well?
Well, I had picked Wekiva to win, but I know it was not a shock to me that that Winter Park was ahead and looked like they were going to win, and because of everything going on at the Apopka game, I was checking Twitter in between plays as much as I could, but never saw any final until just a few minutes before I called you. And so I really know nothing about how it happened. Although all I know is that Wekiva had a nice drive to win, 70-something yard drive to win. 25-22, I think it was, and that's a huge win. That's got to help the confidence. I don't know, maybe Wekiva Winter Park's obviously a good football team. To score 22 points on that Wekiva defense, which is just probably the best I've seen, and I've been doing this for about 40 years now. So best high school defense. I put it this way: best high school defense I've seen on a regular basis. Maybe a one-off, a game somewhere, but for a game in our coverage, for a team in our immediate area here in the Orlando area, Apopka Orlando area, this is probably as good a defense as I've seen. And so Winter Park's a great football team, but obviously Wekiva showed some resiliency in coming back to win that game and move to 3-0 and certainly set themselves as the top team in Central Florida. I don't think there's any doubt. The Orlando area of Central Florida.
Yeah, definitely. I will definitely agree with that. And because both teams have been ranked right now in my Class 8A rankings here, and they both deserve it. And it's just that now we'll see where they fall when we come out next week with rankings going into week 4. But John, I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your busy night. Definitely be following along more of your coverage the rest of the season.
Well, thanks, Josh. Yeah, it's Popka's got a tough one next week. Play Dr. Phillips next week.
Oh,
and
yes.
maybe DP's, they're the defending 8A champs. They lost a lot from last year, but they're still the defending 8A champs. And Popka's got their own issues to figure out. And Popka needs to worry about a Popka as much as DP next week in practice. But should be another good game at Roger Williams Field at Apopka High School.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate it, John. Have a great night.
Thanks. You too, Josh. Take care. Bye.
All right, that was John Perry from the Apopka Chief and Orlando Sentinel reporting to us from the games tonight. As the Lakeland Apopka game, Apopka falls in that game tonight, 37-20 in that game. So a lot going on here. We're going to take a break here in a moment. Again, we're going to get into some scores here. Actually, real quick here, the rest of these scores from the Orlando metro area, looking at some of these other ones. Gateway 19, St. Cloud 6, Kissimmee Osceola 34-14 over Viera, Kissimmee Liberty 42-0 over Ponciana, Lake Nona 42-0 over Orlando Freedom, and a few others here. Celebration 36-28 over Cypress Creek out of Orlando. Harmony 49-0 over Tohopolika. Jones 40-7 over Colonial, and then again there was the Lakeland Apopka score 37-20. And when we come back, I'll get David Feronis on the line. Actually, I may try to do a three-way, get Bill Daly from the Miami Herald on the line as well, and then we'll do that. Hey. And we'll see that. We'll try to actually do both because both of them were at the Stoneman Douglas South Broward game tonight. And I want to talk about that game because that's something pretty special with that game. But we'll talk about more of it after we come back here on the FloridaHSFootball.com Friday Night Scoreboard. We'll be right back right after this.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
All right, welcome back here to the FloridaHSFootball.com Friday Night Scoreboard here, live on FloridaHSFootball.com. Live radio on the internet. You can pick it up anywhere. Plus, you can also use the Spreaker app on your phone, Android or iOS device. Search for that app as well. And the ScoreStream app to report scores as well on the same app stores. A lot going on around the Sunshine State. Week 3, as I've said this, we're very, very fortunate that we actually get a Week 3 this year because we did not get a Week 3 last year with Hurricane Irma bearing down on us at this time last year. It's hard to believe it's actually been a year since we've had since that monster of a storm came through here on the Sunshine State. But anyways, looking at just real quick at some of these other scores, we've got some scores finally coming in, starting to be reported down in the South Florida area between Miami-Dade, Broward, and the Palm Beaches. We got those scores coming in as well, and actually seeing some interesting ones. It looks like Coral Gables 28-14 over Killian. I would say that's probably a good win. But there's one game I want to talk about here in a moment, and that is the Stoneman Douglas South Broward game. I mean, I know a lot of people would say, "Oh yeah, it's probably down on the lower list of when you talk about games being the potential." But there's a meaning for this game because it was a home game for Douglas. They played last week up in Georgia against St. Martin out of Canada, but I've got not one but two people on the line. David Fronis from the South Florida Sun-Sentinel, and then I've got Bill Daly from the Miami Herald, both joining me on the line right now. And guys, I appreciate you taking your time. I know y'all had deadlines to meet first, and appreciate you, both of y'all, to be able to be on here. And let's just start. What for the Eagles? I think maybe the score is not so much. The score itself was, one thing, but I think the significance of actually playing their first home game since the February 14th tragedy. What was the atmosphere like in that? I mean, either one, whoever wants to start it off, go for it.
Go ahead, Dave. You jump in first. I'll follow.
Sure, I'll start it off. I think
I'll bat second. You lead off.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Well, I think the atmosphere, the vibe that you got was that a lot of the players, the team, they kind of just wanted to get back to playing football, and they are trying to honor the 17 victims and make the community proud, but they were just happy to get back on the field, and at least playing at home, then they got to do something for the community, have the community, go out and see the boys play a football game. So you got that sense. But then after the game, you realize, hey, they won by 17 points. That's the same number of victims that they're playing for from that shooting. That number 17 is on the midfield logo. It's on all their helmets. That number means a lot to this team, to those players, to this community. So, when they all found that out afterwards, it's something that made them proud, and they're just happy to give this Parkland community something to be proud of.
Yeah, I thought it's funny, Dave. I said as soon as it was 17-0 in the third quarter, I said, "Wouldn't that be something?" Somebody looked at me. Dave Brousseau was with me, and we said, "Wow, imagine if this score holds." Are you kidding me? 17-0 would be the final score. Of course, it didn't. Then they scored 23, and then of course, South Broward scored, and they're lining up the extra point. And I'm thinking, boy, it's 17 right now. I wonder if they're going to make this extra. And when they didn't, I said, well, there it is. It's sitting on 17 right now. And sure enough, as destiny would have it, that wound up being the final score. I was almost a little bit stunned at the fact that they didn't, I noticed that they really did not have they didn't have a moment of silence. They didn't have, honoring the 17. There wasn't anything, a moment of silence for Aaron Feist or Chris Hickson, or, they played the football game tonight. I mean, the Dolphins, there was some pomp and circumstance there. There was the Dolphins were there with Kim Bokamper and Joe Rose, and Kenny Stills tossed the coin, the pregame coin toss. But other than that, I mean, it was like they just wanted to get out there and play football, and which they did, and they did, and they played very well, and within themselves, they're not a juggernaut team. I mean, let's not kid each other. They're well coached, and Willis does a good job with them, and they'll win their share games. But it would be great. It would be absolutely great. It's been 11 years since they made the playoffs, and they came close last year. So it'd be nice to see them if they could maybe win enough games, maybe to sneak in there and be one of the top 8 teams in their region. So we'll see. But it was definitely a surreal night. It was it was something, and the kids were just so ecstatic and happy after the game. It was like they just wanted to, I think they just wanted to get this first home game out of the way, and now they play Piper next week, and I think they'll be, everything will kind of like be returned to a little bit more of normalcy. There'll be very little media there next week for the Piper game, and I think things are going to, get going in a more normal pattern now for them.
I mean, and that sounds like, it's just the thing. I guess the get this past, get through it, and just play football. And I mean, that sounds like what the nature of the beast is now for them. And when you said that about that they didn't really do any honoring or anything like that the first home game, yeah, that surprises me as well, because you would figure, okay, this is the first home game, you would do something, and then you would move on and play the football game and then carry the course of the season, but. I mean, I guess at this point, I guess at this point now is, like you said, it's focus on playing the games, maybe see if they can sneak in the playoffs, because, in the point system, anything can happen now.
Yeah, I mean, so they needed to, get right. I mean, and all the state playoff games we were at last year in baseball, I mean, they always did the moment of silence for the victims, and at some point there's got to be moving on process. But you're right. I just thought they might just take one night just to sort of recognize that and then sort of like move on. But I guess they're trying to, get the kids to move on and get things going and just get back to the football part of football. So, and that's what it was. So Dave, go ahead and chime in here. I don't want to dominate the show here.
Yeah, and I do know that they are looking to find a date for a home football game to honor the late Aaron Feist, the former assistant coach, offensive line coach, and retire his number 73 that he wore during his playing days. And Coach Willis May told me that may be on the final home game of the regular season, which is a date in October. I have it in my article, but I forget the exact date. And it's a home game against Taravella down here in Coral Springs, so a district game as well. So I believe, that might be more of the day when they end up really, honoring at least Feist. But I think, the 17 victims, I think the guys just want to honor them with the way they play on the field.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, that would be a good way to go. Hey guys, I'm looking at something with some scores. Just I don't want to change the subject too much, but I'm looking at a couple scores. I mean, are you shocked at the American Heritage 11-3 over Miramar? That one, I was wondering if they were playing baseball or something over there tonight. Miramar. That one was just like,
well. Maybe I think if those two schools played baseball, American Heritage would win by more than 11-3, because American Heritage always has a spot of loaded.
It looks like Miramar. Miramar takes a lot of pride in their dark side defense, and I guess they still got some pretty good defense there. And Heritage, of course, it's going to be a transitional year for Heritage. I mean, they're not stacked. There's going to be no automatic trip to Orlando, and surely, Cardinal Gibbons, despite their shockingly slow start, I think they're thinking that this is the year they can get past them and get to Orlando. So, I mean, we'll see, but clearly, there wasn't. It's strange to say that about a juggernaut like American Heritage, but that would really be something if somehow they still managed to get back to Orlando. That's for sure.
I mean, that thing, and they say all good things must come to an end at some point. And speaking of Cardinal Gibbons, 34-12 over Dillard tonight. And I had a good debate with some of these Dillard folks about why they're, with rankings and stuff. And it's like, hey, win a meaningful game. We'll talk about that later on. But here it is. Cardinal Gibbons, I think, finally just, they finally shook the rust off. They got their win tonight. But this is interesting. I don't know what is it going to take for Wesleyan Hialeah to actually even win a game, because the Doral Academy just smacked them 86-0 tonight. I mean,
it's funny you say that, Josh, because I'm breaking it on statewide. I'm breaking it for you tonight. That they, and I'm going to chase down the Westland coach tomorrow. They broke, and I messed up the math. They were at 44 consecutive losses starting the season. I thought the state record for consecutive losses was 48. It was 46 with Tampolito from between 2010 and 2014. Manny did a story on that last year. I looked it up. I said, oh my gosh, they're 0-2. That means they've lost 46 in a row. They tied the state record last week. So tonight they broke the state record for most consecutive losses by a football team. They've lost 47 straight, and they are, which is unfortunate because actually next week they play more. They're actually got their most winnable game next week, which I was actually planning on going to cover if, in fact, they could have broken the streak. But now that they've already set the state record, I'm less inclined to go check out the Wildcats and morning high school.
I just saw this come across, and I was like, "Whoa, wait a second! 86 points, which that's the most points any scored this team, Doral Academy, this season by anybody." So that's
it's sad what's happened there, and I'm just wondering if by the time the end of the season, if they don't beat Morning next week, they're probably going to go 0-10 again. They're going to reach 54 straight, and at some point, as an administration, as an athletic administration, you got to make a decision. I mean, where are we going with this, and are we going to keep this football program going if it's not going anywhere? I mean, Matt Van Dusen, bless his heart, he came in with a lot of enthusiasm last year. He's a former Gator equipment manager, and he had all this, and he had the kids playing. He had them enthusiastic and playing hard, but there's just no kids there at that school. And you saw that score. And that's what Doral, Doral's just only half the team they were supposed to be this year after getting, the roster, invaded by, several schools. And so Doral's only a shell of what they were going to be. So you can only imagine what Doral might have done to them if they still had, but 86, boy, I got to talk to Jay Stewart. He's got to take his foot off the pedal there a little bit. 86 points, man, man.
What's this doing?
Jeez, oh man.
I mean, someone put the 93 octane in tonight, not the 87.
I mean, what was it at halftime? I mean, my gosh, that's why they instituted the running clock. I wonder what that halftime score was.
It had to be. That's what I want to know, and maybe
because
maybe Jordan McPherson might get the box score from somebody from on that one.
Boy, oh boy!
I mean, that's
well, unfortunately, the Wildcats have carved themselves into the state record books, and the folks from Tampolito can relax now. So
even the ones from
they're no longer have the longest state losing streak.
And Forest Hill had it before that, so they can even relax even more that they're down 2 on the list. And by the way, Championat falls tonight to Superior Collegiate.
Yeah, I don't know much about Superior Collegiate. I know Champagnat is, like I said, they're a shell of last year's championship team, and and they're, I don't anticipate them making it back to Orlando. And I heard Naples First Baptist is awfully good, and they could come out of 2A down south this year. So I mean, who knows? But yeah, the Champion Lions are, there was a little bit of a fractured split there with the coaches when Dennis American left, and things. A lot of kids wound up at Miami Christian, and it's just and that's what happens now, Josh. It's just unbelievable. The player movement, I laugh with people. Miami High was 2-8 2 years ago. Last year, okay, they were an eyelash of playing in the state championship game, and they're going to go back to a 2-8 team again this year because it's all about Cedric Irvin coming in, bringing players, leaving, going down to Southridge, and away they go. It's just it's a revolving door, and it's that's another story for another time. The movement of kids from school to school is just absolutely mind-boggling. Don't even get me started on that.
I definitely agree.
I think we already did.
Yeah,
I think we already did.
I think I definitely agree, and of course, I mentioned a thing earlier in the show, but Carroll City was over Columbus tonight, 35-0. That I thought that would be a closer game, and Carroll City is just flexing muscle. And I guess y'all would agree. I guess now the consensus is now Carroll City. If they don't, I would.
Let me tell you something about Carroll City. I've already said it. I even wrote it in the paper this week. Their second team, their backups, could probably beat most teams in Dayton-Broward County, the average teams. I'm not talking about the Northwesterns or the Centrals, but their second team could beat a bunch of teams in Dayton-Broward County. That's how deep they are. That's how stacked they are.
If they don't win a state championship, I'd be shocked now.
I would be stunned. I would too, Josh. I clearly think as good as Central is, and don't circle October 26th because that's Carroll City and Central, and it's going to be a scrum between Carroll City, Central, and Northwestern. They're neighborhood battles, and as good as Carroll City is, they're still going to have to get past those two teams, okay? But I think Carroll City finds a way to get to Orlando and get it done.
In South Dade,
I think you got.
Go ahead.
You got to look at Carroll City and think. Yeah, you got to look at Carroll City and believe. Yeah, this is their time with how loaded that roster is. But yeah, you can't count out Central for sure. So mark that date on the calendar, and then watch out for a rematch in the playoffs too, for a more meaningful game in regionals at some point. But I think that outcome just really shows you. Hey, we just saw Northwestern lose to Columbus the previous week, and then you see Carroll City and the score that they put on that same Columbus team. It's different week to week. You don't know how a team's going to respond, but it kind of goes to show just how far ahead Carroll City is ahead of the reigning 6A state champs, Northwestern. But you still have to look at Central, and what they did to Cardinal Gibbons, and then what they did in their second game as well to Booker T. Washington. You can't count them out.
Considering that Booker T won in overtime last night, and then here's you looking at the score tonight: South Day 20, Miami Northwestern 18. That's a final. We talk about Northwestern now 1-2 coming out of the gate.
Who would have? It's stunning that Northwestern lost 2 in a row, and I was actually at the Booker T Southridge game last night. Booker T absolutely pulled that out of their yin yang. That was unbelievable how they pulled that game out. So fourth down and goal at the 12, and a alley-oop pass to Ja'Cory Brooks in the corner of the end zone over Tyreek Stevenson. To two of the best athletes in the county battling for a football, and it was just a classic finish. So Booker T is something else. How they find a way, it's amazing. So.
That definitely, and I agree with you on that, and it'll be interesting to watch, especially the fact that, Booker T, this is a much-needed game they needed, because, I believe that was the one game that was a scratch on their schedule last year, which did, on points, did kind of keep them out of the 4 spots, at least this year at 6 spots. That's going to be a big boost for them in terms of playoff points.
If Booker T has a tougher schedule in the entire country, show it to me, okay? They're already done. They started with Dillard, okay? Then they play Central. Then they play Southridge. Next week they play Columbus, and then they play Northwestern. Hello.
That is
unbelievable.
It's
unbelievable.
I don't fault them for doing with the scheduling, because that's what they traditionally do. At the end of the day, it's just, hey, if you can win a couple of these tougher games that you put on the schedule, you're going to be in better position for playoff points. And that's, hey, they got one last night. Let's see if they can get a one here in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. And that's what happened to them last year. They didn't get it done. They lost some of those big games, and they wound up not making it, So, and unfortunately, I talked to Ice Harris on media day there at Hard Rock, and he shook his head, said, yeah, and we got the same, these schedules, they're usually 2-year deals, and they got the same. I said, we got to play the same teams again. I said, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. So they're basically playing the same schedule they had to deal with last year. They got a lot of tough games ahead. So it's a long road ahead for the Tornadoes, but they're a better team than they were a year ago.
And that's what's really difficult in Class 4A is that none of the 4A on down, is that none of those teams have to play against each other. They all create their own schedule. So then it's hard to really compare because the only way you're comparing strength of schedule is the opponent win-loss record. Well, someone can play a small private school that, is playing every opponent that can barely field a full team, and then ends up getting like a 7-3, 8-2 record, and then that win actually looks great on your resume. But Booker T. Washington is playing, the class of South Florida, Dade and even Broward County, because they play Chaminade Madonna as well. So you end up not losing, or you end up losing those games, and then that ends up even hurting you even more than what the intention of the point system is,
Absolutely.
which is to get the teams to play tougher schedules to get through.
Now the only good thing is obviously the change in format. Now 6 teams will make it this year instead of 4, which will help.
And you up the loss points by 5, which definitely helps even more, because I think that might have also been a difference for Booker T. At those points have been 5 more points instead of where it was at last year. So that definitely will help them. But guys, hey, I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you taking some time. I know you all been busy. Enjoy the rest of the evening and enjoy your weekend.
Nothing like beating those Friday night deadlines, baby. We love it, Josh. We appreciate you having us on.
Definitely.
Have
a good one.
All right. Take care, Josh. All right.
That was Bill Daly and David Feronis from down there in South Florida joining us here on the Florida HS Football Friday Night Scoreboard. We got a lot going on here around the Sunshine State. Hopefully, I tried to get Doug thing, but let me see. Doug Pugh tried to call in, but I'm going to get him but we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back, and we'll try to get Marty Palman, Corey Davis, Doug Pugh, hopefully get all those guys on, but lot going on. Great to have some South Florida talk here on the Friday Night Scoreboard. That's what we definitely want to do, talk about all different parts of the state as we go through this, and we'll talk some of the other scores again going on here around the Sunshine State. We'll be right back here in about 4.5 minutes here on the Friday Night Scoreboard on FloridaHSFootball.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with, from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloorDHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
FloorDHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
All right, welcome back here to the Friday Night Scoreboard here on FloorDHSFootball.com. Week 3 here. A lot of scores wrapping up, getting into the books. We'll call Week 3 finalized tomorrow once we get a few more of these Saturday games dealt with. Josh Wilson here coming to you live as we do each and every Friday night here on the Friday Night Scoreboard. A lot going on around the Sunshine State, but my next guest on the media train, as I would call it, of callers that we get in each and every week. I'm going down to the Space Coast with Space Coast Daily's Alan Slaughtersinski. He was at Palm Bay and Heritage tonight. I mean, Alan, I appreciate you giving me a call in. I know that was not the only game in the Space Coast area that was pretty good tonight for y'all, but let's start off with your game. How did it go down there tonight?
Well, it went well. Look, I have felt like since camp that the Heritage Panthers were a football team that in Class 5A, I would think that some of those teams in South Florida, once November came, wouldn't want to see. And they reaffirmed that tonight for me as they beat the Palm Bay Pirates, beat them 13-6 tonight in a defensive battle. So they beat Palm Bay at their own game tonight. They forced, uncharacteristically, Palm Bay turned the football over 4 times, but it wasn't necessarily so much as Palm Bay being sloppy, because Dan Burke teams aren't sloppy. This was just simply a matter of a fast, dynamic Heritage defense not allowing Palm Bay to be able to turn the corner. They didn't complete a pass in the game, at least according to my statistics. And that Heritage defense, led by head coach Mark Ainsley, dominated play throughout. In fact, Heritage gave up 1 touchdown tonight, and that's the only touchdown they've given up since the third quarter of Week 1.
Man, that's unreal. Wow, that is like, we're kind of stat do you hear that from? I mean, that's usually not the case, and all that. But beside that game, I know there was another great game down there in Bowles and Rockledge, and that was a battle of 2 top 5 teams in Class 5A going at it tonight. And I tell you what, they sure got a dandy at McLarty.
Yeah, there's no look. I'm going to tell you, Wayne Younger has put together what is now, and I would say arguably, but it's not arguable, the best football team on the Space Coast in the Rockledge Raiders. And look, this is a team that over the last couple of years has played, and they're still young. I mean, you take a guy like Darius Tennyson, that guy's just a junior. OC Brothers. I mean, I could go on and on and on here, but I think the thing for the Rockledge Raiders is to get that win over Jacksonville Bulls tonight. And we keep saying every week, week one they started off against Vieira. They beat them 26-21. And then we said, well, you know what? They've got a big test in week two. They got to go play West Orange. West Orange was, the Orlando Sentinel had a ranked 6th over in Orlando. Well, they go over there. They hang 49 points on West Orange. And we said, well, guess what? All right, that's a good Rockledge team, but the real test comes next week when the 11-time state champ Bulldogs come to town, right?
Right.
You know what? They end up beating them tonight 27-24. So, look, in Rockledge and Wayne Younger, of course, if you know anything about Wayne Younger, you know his pedigree is John Wilkinson. He played for the Cocoa Tigers. So they don't shy away from those early season tough schedules. Last year, the Raiders played an extremely tough early season schedule. They were a young football team. They didn't come out of it. I think they'd lost 3 out of the first 5. And people were like, oh, well, write the Raiders off. But look, you know what? That built some character. They were able to play well into the playoffs. And you know what? That has served them well heading into this season because that's a big win for the program tonight.
Definitely, for sure. And I'll give you this one, Alan. That win for Rockledge last week on West Orange looks even better now than the fact that West Orange knocked off the defending 8A state champ, Dr. Phillips, 31-28 tonight to take the Orange Crate back from Dr. Phillips. So that one,
yeah, I got it. That's huge.
I mean, there's some crazy things that have gone on so far, and we're only 3 weeks into the season, and just looking at it, and and actually I'm going to look at some of the scores from your area right now. I mean, Fowler Lopez 12-3 over Satellite, so definitely a lot closer game for Satellite compared to the first 2 weeks, but still on the not in the win column yet. Melbourne 30-7. I believe that puts Melbourne at 3-0 with that win tonight.
Yeah, Scott Grisham Company moved to 3-0, and look, that's a good 3-0. And I'm not taking anything away because you know what, to be 3-0 is to be 3-0. Space Coast is in the same boat because they're 3-0, but that's a good win for them. But conversely, let's look at 7A in that district right there because they got Vieira there. Now Vieira's 0-3, right?
Right.
So because they lose tonight. So Vieira's 0-3, Melbourne's 3-0. Both of those teams, when you look at that classification, 7A there, I think it's 14, 7A 14. When you look at that right there, Vieira could be a 5-5 team that wins that district. So Melbourne's they're off to a good start. I think it's definitely something to build some confidence on. The tougher part of that schedule definitely lies ahead for the Melbourne Bulldogs.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that. O'Galley 47-7 over Seabreeze. So O'Galley that puts them at 2-1. I mean, I know they came out week 1 and just literally ran over Satellite, but O'Galley, it seems like they're finally getting I guess they're finding some confidence with Chris Sands at the helm now.
Yeah, Chris Sands, you know him. He's a good coach. They took one on the chin last week to Justin Morton's Astronaut War Eagles. But yeah, they're 2-1, and look, Galley's a program that hasn't won less than 5 games a year over the last 6 seasons, and Chris Sands looking to get that team to the next level. So the first part of doing that is to win the games that people say that you're supposed to win. They were supposed to beat Satellite. They did that. We didn't know what was going to happen with Astronaut because that was Justin Morton's first game, his team's first game of the year last week. So we didn't know what we were going to get with Astronaut. But look, they were supposed to beat Seabreeze tonight. They took care of business. So you win the games you're supposed to win, pull an upset or two, and that's how you find yourself in the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Coco just extracts revenge this week after falling to Treasure Coast at the last minute last week. This week they beat Jensen Beach 57-14, and in the Space Coast 42-21 over Port St. Lucie. And Astronaut took one right on the. That's a painful loss right there. 10-9 to Merritt Island. That's tough.
Merritt Island's a young team. Yeah, I got a chance to see Merritt Island up close and personal last week when Heritage put them down 34-3. I wasn't impressed at all with what Merritt Island was doing last week. But, Justin Morton's got a young running back there named Jaden Dollar who had on nearly 250 all-purpose yards last week, and that Merritt Island defense. I would say this, after getting beat the way the Mustangs did last week, Hurley Brown's background. I'm sure Hurley Brown took that team to task this week over on the island here, and I'll bet they came out ready to play. Now, look, Mikey Moss, the quarterback for the Mustangs, he just can't seem to get that offense rolling, but Hurley Brown found something in his defense tonight to shut down that War Eagle offense, because they put up 31 points on that O'Galley defense last week. So it was a good job by Merritt Island.
Yeah, definitely, indeed. And Holy Trinity 78-0 over Bryan Christian. So that's it's putting up 78. That's I guess.
Good for Nate Hooks. You know, I guess that's, you know, look, Nate Hooks. He doesn't have a large contingent of numbers over there. You know, old strength and conditioning coach from back in the day here in Brevard County, running the Holy Trinity Tigers. Nate Hooks, one of the most likable coaches you're ever going to meet.
Oh, yes.
Anywhere. And, you know, he goes out and he gets it. Look, I'm going to tell you, week one, they lost to Merritt Island 10-0. And you know what? They played them tough. And so, you know what? You hope that this gives that offense confidence moving forward. I think 78 points should. So we'll see.
I definitely will agree with you on that. I mean, especially looking at some. I mean, I know there's some other scores I haven't mentioned from the down from the Treasure Coast area because it's part of the Space Coast in my scoreboards. But looking at it real quick, Vero Beach 44-0 over Dr. Croppin, and then looking at some of these other scores. Treasure Coast went down the night. The mainland 36-22. I mean, here's a cut. Let's see who else.
The Buccaneers.
The
Buccaneers are always going to be tough, man. They just are. And you know what? I mean, you know, in all honesty, we haven't really heard from the mainland Buccaneers deep into the playoffs the last couple of years. So, you know what? I think they're carrying a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. Don't be surprised. I like mainland.
Yeah, the thing, and then of course we were talking about the district. It's actually District 6 and 7A with that Martin County and Viera and those district, and Martin County 25-0 tonight over Fort Pierce Central. So I think that you were right. That district, Viera could go 5-5 and win that district. It's a toss up. Really, it's really that district could be. Like you said, Melbourne might look pretty good right now, but it all comes down to when that district play starts week 6 in that district. It's when they start when they put that ball on the field and go. We'll see we'll separate the boys from the men from the boys in that situation.
No question. And the thing, look, Vieira, they got beat soundly tonight. They got beat by a good Kissimmee Osceola team tonight, a very good team. But look, make no mistake about it. Head coach Derek Smith and offensive coordinator Mike DeGore, they find themselves in a bit of a quandary here. Now, they've got themselves a sophomore quarterback in Bryce Norton that they're bringing along. And, look, he's rated high in terms of that 2020 class. But the bottom line here is they get Merritt Island next week, and when they play Cocoa the week after that, they got a new turf going down up at Hawk Stadium. So they haven't been home yet. It won't be home. Hopefully that turf will be ready to go by the time that the Cocoa Tigers game is on the schedule. But look, Merritt Island gets a win tonight over Astronaut. Vieira's got to go play them at the island next week. Defensively, it's like Merritt Island. I don't know if they're going to be able to put up enough points to beat Vieira, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that by the time that the Vieira Hawks are done with that Cocoa Tiger game, they could be 0-5.
And that's and the thing you would think. Would you think that Vieira would come out 0-5? Probably not. Most people would say, hey, Vieira's been one of the top, a top caliber program in the state the last few years. You wouldn't think of this, but sometimes it's just things happen. And I know that I know they went up to South Carolina last week and played their butts off. That's not a question about it. They're playing their butts off in these games. That's the end of that's the way you have to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, look, in the first two games, I have to take a look at tonight. I haven't really had a chance to sit down yet and go through the numbers, but just in the first two games alone, this is a team that put up 49 first-half points. But the problem is, that's the good news. The bad news is up until tonight, and I don't imagine that they did, I'll have to look, they hadn't scored a point in the second half this season going into tonight. So it's a four-quarter game. And then when I say four quarters, I don't mean the first two quarters of the first game and the first two quarters of the second. You've got to play. So far, they played 12 quarters, and the Hawks haven't played 12 quarters of football.
And that's the thing that Coach Smith will have to figure out. Well, okay, how do I get my guys to play play that 48 minutes of football? You got to play that full 48 minutes. I mean, that's the way it goes. But I mean, just looking at it, I mean, the thing is just it's gonna just looking at it. These next few weeks are gonna be very interesting for the Space Coast area. I mean, I can feel it already. We're gonna find out who's really wanting to who wants that playoff spot, because I know that for that area, you know, especially the 6A teams, you know, they got shut out pretty much out of getting playoff spots last year because it was just not a solid season. I can tell you that.
No, you know, and I'll tell you, the Space Coast, they pride themselves on the fact, when you look at the Citrus Bowl, going back to 2015, 3 straight years the Space Coast has sent a team to the Citrus Bowl. Now, they're 1-2 in that time. Beer lost to St. Thomas, and, of course, Cocoa last year lost to Rains, but Cocoa did beat Bowls 2 years ago. So, you know, look, this is an area of town that prides itself on producing quality teams and quality athletes, and I don't think this year is any different. You know, there are 8 new head coaches. They haven't fared that bad coming into this week. They were 6-9 collectively entering week 3. So we'll see, Josh. We'll see Josh here coming up. My broadcast partner tonight, his name was Chris. We'll see Josh coming up. What's going to happen? But you're right. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks, and I'll tell you, with teams like Merritt Island being 0-3 and teams like Matt Diesel, Space Coast Vipers being 3-0. Should be a lot of fun this week on the social media platforms here in East Central Florida this week.
Yeah, and definitely, and I want to point out that's on SpaceCoastDaily.com and as well as on their Facebook page on at the Space Coast Daily. And I think y'all had like 3 games tonight. Y'all have been like putting about 3 games online each week, and that's huge for y'all because that's giving y'all, that's giving the Space Coast a lot of exposure. That, you know, hey, every part of the state needs its exposure, especially with these student athletes. They deserve it.
Josh, I'm surprised. In all honesty, I'm surprised that there are just simply not more media outlets that, I'm not trying to encourage, but I'm just surprised. Look, it's not easy to do, to go out there and it's not. What we do is not. It's hard. You know, it takes a broadcast team. There's equipment involved. You know, you just don't go turn on a camera and go Facebook Live and bam, there it is. It's not easy to do, but you know, look, 3 games a week. Our viewership is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 80,000 viewers collectively between the 3 games each week. So we're proud of what we're doing here, and we encourage everybody throughout the entire state of Florida. You know, we've got some great games coming up over the next couple of weeks. And, you know, in 2 weeks, we've got that Cocoa Vieira game, which should be a slobber knocker of a contest. So, you know what? On a Friday night, if you're sitting around looking for some Florida high school football to watch, flip over to Space Coast Daily and check us out.
Yeah, definitely. And you can follow Space Coast Daily on Twitter at Space Coast Daily, and you can also follow Alan on Twitter at ZLot Sports. So that's how you can.
Yep.
And Alan will post those links up on Twitter, so you will not miss it.
No, hey Josh, I really appreciate you having me on, buddy. I gotta hit it. I gotta wrap up. Gotta get on my show and wrap up Space Coast, man.
Hey, have a good one. Hey, I'll hit your show up next week. How about that? We'll try to work your.
Hey, you come on next week because we go on at 11:30. We try to wait to the end of yours, but you know we have a retirement community over here, so we got to get on sometime before midnight.
Definitely appreciate it. Well, Alan, you have a great evening.
All right, take care, buddy.
You too.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that was Alan Slaughterzinski from the Space Coast Daily joining us here on the Friday Night Scoreboard. Actually, let's take a look at some scores. Go into South Florida. We'll look at some scores because then we'll talk to get Marty Palmer on from the Jacksonville area and our North Central Florida area. But let me actually go into South Florida here because I didn't get a full rundown of the scores that we did when we had Bill Daly and David Feronis on here. But let's go ahead and run some of these scores that we had. Superior Collegiate 20-14 over Champaign Catholic. Vero Beach 44-0 over Dr. Crop. Miami Killian falls tonight to Coral Gables 28-14. Gulliver Prep 55-31 over North Broward Prep. Coral Reef a 10-9 winner over Miami Beach. Miami Christian 12-6 over Palm Glades Prep. Palmer Trinity 35-21 over Westminster Academy. Westminster Christian 10-7 over Ransom Everglades. University School 52-14 over Everglades Prep. Belen Jesuit 36-26 over North Miami Beach. Miami Palmetto 42-0 over Ferguson. Palm Beach Central 63-7 over Braddock. South Dade 20-18 over Miami Northwestern. Monsignor Pace goes on the road and pulls out a close win over Gulf Coast 35-33. Miami Carroll City a 35-0 winner over Columbus. Hialeah 54-6 over Hialeah Miami Lakes. Southwest Miami 35 84-0 over Miami High, and those are the scores. And of course, Doral Academy 84-0 over Westland Hialeah tonight, and those are scores out of the Miami-Dade Keys region. We'll hop into the Broward region here and look at some of the scores there. And the Broward region, Piper 34-7 over Boyd Anderson, MacArthur 25-14 over West Broward. And that is a district game right there, so it puts MacArthur up 1-0 in the district, in District 7A 15. Plantation American Heritage 11-3 over Miramar. Cardinal Gibbons 34-12 over Dillard. Douglas 23-6 over South Broward. And looking at some of the other things, Thomasville, Georgia 39-0 over Everglades. Coffee County 54-6 over Taravella. Somerset Academy over Somerset Canyons 31-7. Coral Springs 13-6 winner over Coral Glades. St. Thomas Aquinas a 62-0 winner over Flanagan. Pinecrest out of Fort Lauderdale 35-34 over Calvary Christian out of Fort Lauderdale. Western 24-8 over Hallandale. Fort Lauderdale 13-7 over Cooper City. River Ridge a 45-0 winner over West Park out of Hollywood. And those are scores that we have here from the Broward region. And we are going to take a look at a couple of the other scores here that we've got from in the thing. We're going to go into the Palm Beach region in Palm Beach County and take a look at some of the scores that have been finalized there. Forest Hill 3-0 on the season with a 52-14 win over John I. Leonard. Palm Beach Central 63-7 over Braddock. Palm Beach Gardens 28-0 over Lake Worth. Dwyer 42-14 over Glade Central. Pahokee falls tonight to Delray Beach Atlantic 35-21. And looking at a couple other things, that is should not be sitting there in the scoreboard, but we'll fix that here in a few minutes. Cambridge Christian 35-0 over Village Academy. St. Andrews 24-8 over Inlet Grove. Suncoast 32-25 over Spanish River. Cardinal Newman 40-20 over Olympic Heights. Boca Raton 30-7 over Boynton Beach. Santa Lucia's 19-0 over West Boca Raton. Holy Trinity 78-0 over Berean Christian. Wellington 14-8 winner over Park Vista. And those are scores from the Palm Beach County region here on the FloydHSFootball.com Friday Night Scoreboard. Appreciate y'all tuning in and listening to us. You can listen to us each and every week here during the season on FloydHSFootball.com. You can also report scores to us at FLAHS Football on social media, on the Twitter. And you can also report scores through the ScoreStream app by downloading the ScoreStream app on your Android or iOS device. Just search for ScoreStream. All right, we're going to take a break, and then we'll get Marty Palman here on the line and talk some North Florida football. And we'll do that here, but we'll be right back here right after this here on the FloydHSFootball.com Friday Night Scoreboard. We'll be right back here in about 4.5 minutes.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with, from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org. Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
Legacy Team Sales is the official clothing sponsor of FloridaHSFootball.com, serving the entire state of Florida with everything a team needs and beyond. From shirts to ball caps and from jerseys to promotional gear, Legacy Team Sales has it all, including embroidery and screen printing services. Visit them online at shoplts.com or visit their showroom and warehouse at 1417 Southwest 17th Street in Ocala between US 301 and State Road 200. The Florida Athletic Coaches Association has been the state's premier coaches association for high school coaches since 1936. From coaching clinics to all-star games for all Florida High School Athletic Association team sports, the Florida Athletic Coaches Association has something for all coaches to be involved with from Pensacola to Key West. To inquire about membership, visit the Florida Athletic Coaches Association online at floridacoaches.org. That is floridacoaches.org.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
FloridaHSFootball.com is a proud media partner of the Florida High School 7v7 Association. The goal of the Florida High School 7v7 Association is to provide high school football teams around the state an association that complies with Florida High School Athletic Association bylaws and policies while being able to provide off-season training for their skilled position athletes. For teams interested in membership starting in January 2018, visit the Florida High School 7v7 Association online at fh7v7a.com.
High school sports fans, follow your team live with the free ScoreStream mobile app. Just download ScoreStream to get real-time scores, photos, and awesome video from your game and your rivals. Plus, follow your favorite teams and friends. Get real-time high school sports from ScoreStream.
All right, welcome back here to the Friday Night Scoreboard here on FloridaHSFootball.com. And, well, what do you know? Navarre knocks off Crestview 41-35. Irish Bill Hamill on the call for that one out there on Jock Jive Sports and the Panhandle. Bring Marty Palman on here in just a moment here. And a lot going on here around the Sunshine State. Marty, good evening here. And like I said, it was coming in. How about that with Navarre knocking off Crestview 41-35? And Crestview won a good majority of that game. So came down to a barn burner.
Calling much later tonight than the last few weeks, Josh. But yeah, good to be on and still driving at 11:40 Eastern. So another loss in the old picks column as I think I went the Crestview route. But that sounds like a really good game for the Panhandle between those two teams.
By the way, that was an overtime.
Yeah. Well, by the way, a game that was not in overtime tonight was a game that I broadcast in Jacksonville on 92.5 FM. Bishop Kenny 9, Nice 6, as the Crusaders get their first win of the season. And not a badly played ball game. There was only one turnover for each team. But Bishop Kenny moved the ball, settled for 3 field goals, and that was enough. Nice scored a touchdown. Bad staff on an extra point, didn't get it. They missed a field goal, so not a lot of difference. But Bishop Kenny defense wins gets the win 9-6 tonight over Nice. So they go to 1-2. Nice is 0-3, and that's the game that I was in tonight. But we had some interesting results from Northeast Florida tonight, not the least of which was St. Augustine has lost 2 in a row. Tell me the last time that's happened, Josh. So you might want to look that up. I bet it was before Joey Wiles was coaching there. I bet it was sometime mid-90s, probably.
It might have been before Joey Wiles, but man, that's one of the shockers tonight in the thing. You would think that St. Augustine would really want to knock the crap out of their mouth, so to say, from last week's loss, but Ponte Vedra, but in the case for Ponte Vedra, they needed a win like this, and now they're 3-0.
Well, they're 3-0, right? And I think what we're seeing in St. Johns County is, obviously we know Bartram Trail, state runner-up last year. We see with Menendez putting 62 on St. Augustine last week and then scoring 40 tonight against Yulee. We're seeing the teams of St. Johns County who have been, St. Johns County's been dominated by St. Augustine for so long. We're starting to see these teams in St. Johns County catch up with them a bit. Ponte Vedra was a state runner-up 2 years ago, Bartram Trail last year. Now, my question is, Bartram Trail winning tonight at Clay, 34-13. They play St. Augustine in 2 weeks. This has got to be the year that Bartram Trail finally breaks that streak against St. Augustine, right? Because Menendez did it last week. Menendez is all 17, we're 17 all time as well for last week.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, and I've got to think that this is going to be Bartram Trail's year. But we've said it, we've said it so many times. But I think now we're starting to say that. Now I think it's starting to be believable that this will be, their time right now.
Not only that, but think of St. Augustine too, and then they've got a game. They've got to play Flagler Palm Coast next week on the road. I know how good they are in 8A. They've got Bartram Trail after that on the road. We're looking.
Well, let me stop you there. Flagler Palm Coast lost to 21-0 tonight to Sanford Seminoles, so there's going to be...
never mind. I thought they were undefeated, so you're glad you dropped that score on me. So we'll see. You're right. I was going to say St. Augustine might be set up to lose 4 in a row here, but maybe you're right. Maybe Flagler Palm Coast will take a step back. That's a pretty surprising score, 21-0 from Central Florida, with Seminole winning over Flagler Palm Coast.
Yeah, definitely. But look, Marty, before we jump any more into North Florida with some of the scores, I need to take a trek from Southwest Florida up the coast real quick here on some scores here. All right, Lehigh 27-13 over South Fort Myers. North Fort Myers 15-10 over Palmetto Ridge. Estero 23-13 over Ida Baker. Golden Gate 14-7 over Lely. Golden Gate 3-0 on the season. I mean, that is a huge for them, knocking off Immokalee in week 1, and they have continued the winning ways. Monsignor Pace 35-33 over Gulf Coast. St. John Newman 55-0 over Gateway Charter. Bayshore, an 8-0 winner over Island Coast. Cape Coral, 43-0 over East Lee County. Oasis and Evangelical Christian go into a shootout tonight, 67-33, the final there. Southwest Florida Christian, 27-22 over Community School of Naples. Barron Collier, 44-33 over Immokalee tonight. Immokalee 0-3 on the season. Quarterback issues plaguing the Indians right now. Bishop Verrall, 17-10 over Lakeland Christian. Shortcrest Prep, 34-14 over Fort Myers Canterbury. And that was some scores in the Southwest Florida region. Let's hit in the South Suncoast real quick, and then we'll take a look at some stuff over in the Tampa Bay area and Highlands and all that part of the region. But scores, a lot of them gone final here as we go through them here. Windermere Prep, a 35-21 win over State Stevens. Windermere Prep moves to 3-0 on the season. Likely will be the number 1 team next week in our Sunshine State Athletic Conference Top 5 rankings. Venice, 49-13 over Charlotte. So Venice has kind of bounced back after losing week 1, having a sluggish week 2, and now they finally put some points up this week on the scoreboard. Port Charlotte 34-14 over Lemon Bay. Hardy 3-0 on the season, the 39-0 winner over Avon Park. Braden River with Knowledge McDaniel finally on the field for one of 3 games this year, 41-31 over Manatee. Southeast 40-3 over Lakewood Ranch. Foundation Academy 30-0 over Bradenton Christian. Cardinal Mooney 28-17 winner over Berkeley Prep. I believe that is put Paul Meckley's Cardinal Mooney Cougars up to 3-0 on the season. Palmetto gets a win tonight over Sarasota Riverview, 42-35. DeSoto County, 43-0 over Mulberry. ING Academy White actually knocks off our number 5 team that just entered the 2A rankings this week, Zephyr Hills Christian. So some shakeups going to be happening in the 2A rankings come next week. Booker, 37-13 over Sarasota. Out of door, 33-0 over Santa Fe Catholic. And IMG Academy, right now that game's going on out in Nevada. The IMG Academy Blue National Team, 21-0 over Liberty out of Henderson, Nevada. So that's a look at the South Suncoast. I mean, Marty, some interesting stuff, but I mean, some good football tonight around the Sunshine State. I can tell you that.
Yes, sir. A lot of interesting scores there. IMG Academy playing in Las Vegas, or out in Nevada. So, yeah, that's an interesting trip. We've got Miami Central was going up to play.
And that's tomorrow with that game.
Yeah, tomorrow night. That's going to be big as they play St. John's College out of D.C., who considered a top 5 or number 1 team in the country by some polls. And, yeah, so and then you mentioned IMG going out to Vegas. So we got a lot of those games still going on early in the year with teams traveling. But, yeah, it's week 3 already, Josh, and we said the other night on your podcast Wednesday, a year ago we weren't playing any football really on Friday night. This year we've got a full schedule of games, and not only that, the best I can tell, I believe the weather is held out throughout most of the state tonight. I know it was where I was. Beautiful night on the St. Johns River tonight, downtown Jacksonville.
Yeah, definitely, indeed, and you know, a lot of games, and it does not look like Mother Nature was much of an issue tonight around the state. Some more scores here going into Pinellas County. St. Petersburg Catholic 20-3 over Indian Rocks Christian. Seminole in Pinellas County 31-12 over Dunedin. St. Pete Northeast 26-20 over Gibbs. Pinellas Park 64-6 over Seminole Osceola. Clearwater Central Catholic 34-14 over Tampa Catholic. Eastlake 27-2 over Terrapin Springs. Clearwater Cavalry Christian a 61-13 winner over Anclote. Admiral Farragut 27-6 over Kingdom Prep. Lakewood and Dunellen go to overtime tonight, with Lakewood coming out 12-6 on the Tigers. Superior Collegiate 20-14 over Champagnat Catholic. Countryside 23-20 over Clearwater. Largo 48-13 over Palm Harbor University. Shorecrest Prep 34-14 over Fort Myers Canterbury. And then we've still got scores outstanding. We're not sure about Victory Christian, Northside Christian, or Boca Ciega and St. Petersburg. So we'll have to find those scores out here at some point tonight as well. But if we don't get to them tonight here on the show, we'll get them out we'll get them up on the scoreboard here. Let me jump into Hillsborough County real quick, see what's going on over there. Some our number 11 team, the Plant Panthers, actually fell tonight to Armwood 21-18. So that's kind of a surprise, but they went to a blackout uniform tonight, Murdy, and they had the new it was what I would call the Dark Panther helmet. Black. They ditched it. They ditched the Plant P and put this Panther head on a black mate helmet with a blackout uniform. And it was real nice, but apparently didn't give them the mojo they needed to win at home.
Yeah, taking another L in the picks there with Plant losing to Armwood.
I'm taking it too, so I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean that was going to be a really good game no matter what. Plant at home. You know, you think they're going to win there at Dad's Stadium, but I love that name. But, yeah, not tonight. Armwood is, and that, by the way, is a game, you think about it, those are Hillsborough County teams who should play every year. And, you know, I'm glad that Armwood and Plant are playing. They're powerhouses in the state of Florida. And tonight it's just a little bit too much for Armwood on the road. But, yeah, I like that matchup in Hillsborough County. I think that I'm glad that they're playing now because those two teams are regulars and making it to Orlando.
Yeah, definitely, indeed. East Bay 35-12 over Robinson. Sefner Christian 56-0 over Four Corners Charter. Tampa Freedom over Spotto 7-6. They might have been playing baseball there at that game. I'll tell you that. But
yep.
Newsom 28-14 over Durant. Carrollwood Day 44-6 over Tampa Bay Christian. Alonzo 36-6 over Aledo. Jefferson 44-0 over Brandon. Jesuit, a 35-10 winner over Steinbrenner. Gaither, 35-12 over Leonard. Cardinal Mooney 28-17 over Berkeley Prep. Chamberlain 42-7 over Tampa Riverview. Bloomingdale a 51-0 winner over Middleton. Tampa Bay Tech 19-6 winner over Sickles. Cambridge Christian 35-0 over Village Academy. And Plant City 44-7 over Wharton. Actually, I'm going to drop over into the up into the North Suncoast because there's some scores there. How about this? South Sutton is actually South Sutton are 3-0 after going 0-9 last year, so they took care of business again tonight. So great, and good hats off to Ty Lawrence and his team bouncing back like that and getting off to a great start. Definitely, I think we'll be able to have a chance to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, last year was, I think, an aberration for South Sumter going through the loss of Edmund Sherman retiring, Ty Lawrence taking over, and you're seeing more of what we expect from South Sumter. And tough season for Trenton so far. They did score tonight. That was their first points of the season, and they have not been close in the first 3 games. Definitely a rebuilding season for Trenton. Coach Jackman there in his first year. So, yeah, they're going to have, they're going to drop back from 4A to 1A next year. So that's, and maybe that's what they need. But they're having a tough year. But nice win for South Sumter in a regional game tonight.
Well, I'll say this: that schedule was set with them with being in 1A in mind already, so it was already set like that. But it's just for 4A and playoff purposes. But at the same time, they may not want to schedule any 4A opponent for the foreseeable future after this season. So that's my opinion on that one. But looking at some of these North Suncoast scores, Hernando 48-14 over Lando Lakes, Lincoln 75-0 over Hudson. Wildwood 20-16 over Mount Dora Christian. Yeah, that Lincoln score. I bet I'm not surprised. I can tell you that. So
okay, 75. Good grief. Okay.
Well, we had 184-0 tonight down in South Florida. So let's.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's
the 84-point spread. No, there was an 84-point spread according to Pinko.
But
this week.
That was over in the Panhandle, but we'll take a look at some of those scores here in a few minutes here from the thing. Westport 42-14 over Citrus. I believe that puts Westport at 2-1 on the season. So Matt Franklin there getting Westport off to a decent start this season. Wesley Chapel Cypress Creek. Congratulations to the Coyotes. Their first win in school history tonight. 42-22 over Bishop McLaughlin. So congratulations to Cypress Creek down there in Pasco County. Villages off to a 3-0 start, 39-14 over Pearson Taylor. Zephyr Hills also off 3-0 start, 28-13 over Lake Gibson. IMG Academy White defeats Zephyr Hills Christian 16-10 tonight, and that's actually coming off a week after Zephyr Hills Christian beat North Florida Christian. So again, we've said, as I said it a bit ago, the 2A rankings are definitely going to see a shakeup. Cedar Creek Christian 50-6 over Seven Rivers Christian. Eastside a 64-0 winner over Brooksville Central. Weeki Wachee 52-14 over 5A. Crystal River a 45-40 winner over South Lake. South Sumter 42-6 over Trenton. Wiregrass Ranch, a 7-6 winner over Sun Lake. Nature Coast, 32-7 over Springstead. And River Ridge, 45-0 over West Park out of Hollywood. And Pasco falls tonight to Wesley Chapel, 39-33. So that's a look at North Suncoast right there. So
yeah, that's go ahead.
Oh no, it's just some of these scores. You see, either they're playing really good defense, or they're playing, or there's no defense and there's a lot of offense.
Yeah, that's right. And I heard you say Eastside over Brooksville Central. Eastside is 2-1 now, with only lost to Buellholz week 1 in a game that was pretty close. So Eastside continuing to play good football in Gainesville, but they'll have big games coming up with North Marion. That'll be a huge game. I didn't hear. I was going to ask you about Vanguard North Marion, actually, if you're able to go to North Central Florida, because I did know some scores from there, and I feel like you covered Northeast Florida, but yes, you've definitely covered the Tampa Bay area.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to get the Lakeland area real quick, and then we're going to jump into North Florida here after that. Lake Wells 50-6 over Haines City tonight. Out of door 33-0 over Santa Fe Catholic. DeSoto County 43-0 over Mulberry. LaBelle 24-20 over Clewiston. I think Bleeds puts LaBelle at 3-0 on the season. I'll definitely have to check my records on that one. That's a little. Let's talk about some of these surprises. That's probably going to be an article for next week. Who has surprised coming out of the gate after 3 weeks? I think now we can actually put some of that together now. Tenor Rock 26-6 over Discovery out of Lake Alfred. Sefner Christian 56-0 over Four Corners Charter. Admiral Farragut 27-6 over Kingdom Prep. Fort Meade 17-16 over Lake Placid. Kathleen, how about this? Kathleen picks up their first win of the season, 19-7 over Ridge Community. Winter Haven 31-21 over Lake Brantley. George Jenkins 44-13 over Lake Region. I believe that puts George Jenkins at 3-0 on the season as well. And Lakeland 37-20 over Apopka. Zephyr Hills 28-13 over Lake Gibson, and there's a couple other scores still sitting out there, but we're not sure. We'll have to figure out if they have been reported or not, but that's from the Heartland region of the state. And Marty, I'm going to jump into Jacksonville in the First Coast region now. We'll actually really talk some scores that you're going to be more familiar with, and if I could have gotten Corey Davis on the line, we probably would have the discussion about, since I know they did the Lee Mandarin game tonight, and I know it was close for a while, but then Lee kind of pulled away. So,
yeah, that game was broadcast on NFHS Network with Prep Zone, and yeah, Lee 13 with Duval Sports, 13 all going late in the third, but Lee pulled away to win 38-13. So the Generals are 3-0, and guess who they have next week? Lee Columbia. That's going to be fun, and that probably is going to decide that district title in the first district game of the year at 7A District 2. That's going to be, yeah.
And we will have that game on the Pick'ems, and that game on our media Pick'ems. That game will be a top 25 game of the week. You can book it right now, people.
Definitely. Yeah, Lake City next week, Columbia High School, and Corey and Andre Ellis will be broadcasting that game next week. So that should be fun. Both teams undefeated, district rivals. Lee's had the better of Columbia lately, but boy, Columbia looks really good this year. But Lee's playing good football.
Yeah, definitely, indeed. I can tell you that for sure. But looking at some of these other scores here, Andrew Jackson 2-1 on the season to start with, 25-0 over Hilliard.
Yeah, that's a good start. Right, they've really struggled lately in Andrew Jackson, but a nice win. I mean, Hilliard's a 1A school, but it's a good win on the road and a good win to get early in the year to go over and win that game. And Jackson is, I was just talking to Corey Davis about this earlier, Jackson is not playing any teams higher than them in classification with the exception of First Coast this year. So their scheduling has been, advantageous for the fact that they don't have a lot of players. So, they've dropped everyone that's in a higher classification except First Coast. But good for them to start 2-1 and to go on the road tonight and win up in Nassau County.
Definitely, indeed. Fleming Island takes out my alma mater, Middleburg, tonight, 35-14. Broncos 0-3. Fleming Island moves to 2-1 on the season. Palaca 47-7 over Bellevue. Robert E. Lee 38-13 over Mandarin. Your Orange Park Raiders, Marty, 35-20 over Atlantic Coast.
2-1. 2 in a row for the Raiders.
Definitely, indeed, for them. Rockledge 27-24 over Bowles tonight. Menendez 40-15 over Yulee. Menendez puts up another 40-point game again. For the third week in a row, they have scored at least 40 points in their games. So
I think we have to actually say that Menendez may be legit. It might be time.
I'll tell you this. I put them in the top 10 in Class 5A after they beat St. Augustine. I felt like that ranking was definitely deserved, and they deserve to be in the top 10 in Class 5A. I mean, there's no question about what Menendez has done, and they're gonna challenge Clay. They're gonna challenge Baker County. Baker County has not looked good coming out of the gate, and Clay fell tonight, which we'll get here to that score here in a moment. Here they followed the Bartram Trail, and it was not pretty, I would say, at least. In that case, Ridgeview 42-7 over Westside. University Christian 33-15 over Crescent City. St. Joseph Academy 31-8 over Eagles View. Ponte Vedra 21-14 over St. Augustine. We were just talking about that with Ponte Vedra and St. Augustine. And Ponte Vedra, that's a good statement win for them over the Yellow Jackets. And Bartram Trail 34-13. So they bounced back after a close loss to Apopka last week at home. So Bartram Trail goes on the road and puts Clay right out of their misery, so to speak, in a way. And Sandalwood 41-16 over Leon, and then Trinity Catholic 46-14 over Stanton College Prep. How about this one? This one was on our pick'ems, not only for the Florida HS Football.com media pick'ems, but there's also Gainesville Sun pick'ems. I think you took Baldwin, didn't you?
Well, I heard this game was in overtime, or it was a very high-scoring back-and-forth game. I did not hear a final, but I heard it was something around 50-49 at one point.
Okay, but did you take Baldwin or Dixie?
I did take Baldwin in that game on the road.
50-43 Baldwin. They get the win.
43, okay. Wow. That actually looked like it was going to be one of the games of the week. Baldwin coming off the win at Bradford last week, and with Dixie County playing well. So a good win for Baldwin. Tough loss for Coach Richardson at Dixie County. He's got a good team there, and Baldwin, I think, is a team to watch. They're 3-0, and they're looking good.
Yes, definitely.
There.
Yeah, definitely. Bradford 28-14 over Keystone Heights. Union County 43-9 over Interlochen. West Nassau 35-0 over Providence. Baker County 8-6 over Ribault.
That's a big score. Yeah, and Baker County won that game with a 6-6 tie. Ribault on a punt in the end zone, snapped the ball over the punter's head through the end zone for a safety, which gave Baker County the win. By the way, Baker County is 2-1. They lost 14-13 in St. Augustine week 1. They beat Ed White 14-8 in week 2, and they beat Ribault 8-6 in week 3. So clearly, they have the defense down. They're not scoring a lot of points, but Baker County's 2-1, and they get a win tonight at Ribault with a close score at home against Ribault by 8-6.
Yeah, definitely. Fletcher 47-7 over Inglewood. Trinity Christian 44-0 over Terry Parker. Your Bishop Kenny Nice score 9-6 on field goals. Cedar Creek Christian 50-6 over Seven Rivers Christian. Creekside 48-17 over Paxson. And there's some couple other scores missing out there, but not sure what the deal is. But it is what it is on that one. So that was a look at the First Coast region, Marty.
Yep. You mentioned some of the teams in there. Trinity Christian winning big in their district opener, 5A District 4. And they got Bowles next week. Trinity Christian and Bowles next week at Bowles. We remember what happened last year. Those two games were both classic games. Trinity won both on the field, but had to give up the regular season win with a forfeit due to ineligible players. They won the playoff game in overtime. So Trinity and Bowles next week, an early district lead game in 5A District 4 as Bowles had a tough loss at Rockledge tonight. And you mentioned Sandalwood. They rolled to win in Tallahassee against Leon. They're 3-0 and looking pretty good at the Saints after that big win over Fleming Island last week at home. And also Ridgeview 3-0. So another nice start for Cam Fortune's team there in Orange Park, the Ridgeview Panthers. So, yeah, you got some teams that are playing really good football. Of course, Rains beat Ed White last night, Thursday night games. The Rains have won 2 in a row since the loss of week 1. We're getting going here 3 weeks into the regular season. And like I said, Orange Park High School's 2-1. So I got to give a shout out to Coach McPherson's team. Beat Atlantic Coast last week. And tonight they beat Nice last week, this week Atlantic Coast. So, a couple of nice wins there as well. And, we're some good football tonight in the Jacksonville, Northeast Florida area. And, of course, again, another St. Thomas County rivalry game. Ponte Vedra knocks off St. Augustine at 21-14.
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, with these Gainesville Sun pick'ems that we do, Larry Savage's son, Scott Savage, is looking like a genius for picking Bell, and they actually pick up their first home win tonight, the first win of the season tonight against Franklin County. So,
I blame Joe Pincos for that one.
Yeah,
Franklin County
by
is
20
favorite, and I don't know. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to know what to pick there, but that was a tough one. Although one thing that did happen tonight was I did take Chiefland at Lafayette, and that was a big win. And speaking of another team, North Central Florida, how about Chiefland off to a 3-0 start in 1A with a couple of big wins on the road against Trenton and Lafayette? They're off to a good start this season as well.
Yeah, definitely. I was actually gonna bring that up because I was looking at it, and me and you were the only two that picked Chiefland to beat Lafayette, and sure enough, that was a 37-14 win for Chiefland over Lafayette. So that's a huge win for them tonight on the road here. And looking at some of these other scores real quick here, I mean, I've gone through some of them. Bradford 28-14 over Keystone, Santa Fe 43-6 over Santa Fe, Oak Hall 45-6.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I mean. And Bell and Franklin County was a 20-13 win, so that was the final score on that game right there. So
Hawthorne, how about Hawthorne 3-0? They beat PK Young, who was 2-0 tonight, 51-13.
51-20.
51-20, sorry. But yeah, Hawthorne goes over 50 points again, which I think they've done the first 3 games this year. And they beat a PK Young team that is much better this year under Marcus McDonald. They beat Wildwood and Keystone Heights Stanley the first 2 weeks. So CI's got himself a team in Hawthorne, it seems like. I know they played Interlochen, North Florida Educational, and PK Young, but PK Young's not bad this year. But if you're Hawthorne, there's 2 games in the middle of October. Those are the ones to watch. They've got Union County at home and Chiefland at home in back-to-back weeks in October. And that's going to, Hawthorne may be able to make the playoffs either way, but those 2 games are going to be huge for their chances of making the postseason.
Yeah, definitely, indeed. And taking a look at the Panhandle scores, 2 games in the Panhandle Council tonight. Baker and Joshua Christian, that was the one that we were talking about with the 84-point spread. That game did not get played at all, canceled right out the door. And West Florida Tech, it's a home game against the Iberville out of Mississippi. They were in part of that path of Tropical Storm Gordon earlier in the week, and they have not been able to practice, so that game was canceled. That will be a scratch on the schedule for West Florida Tech on that game. So let's see. Holmes County 26-18 over Freeport J, 52-0 over Rocky Bayou. Christian Pensacola Catholic storms by Choctaw 34-9. Northview 14-7 over South Walton. Bozeman 23-12 over Chipley. Navarre, a 41-35 winner in overtime, and Irish Bill again on Jock Jive Sports on the call on that one. Hopefully one of these nights I'll be able to get Irish Bill on. Maybe probably during the bye week is probably when I'll get him on, because those games for Navarre tend to run late out there in the Panhandle. And Milton 26-6 over Fort Walton Beach. Pine Forest 40-7 over Pace. Bluntstown 48-27 over Mariana. Mosley 36-7 over Rutherford. Cottondale 20-16 over Liberty County. Gulf Breeze 58-25 over Tate. Port St. Joe 27-0 over Bay. Actually, well, I got the Fine Forest and. Okay, why do I have 2 scores for them in there? Okay, this is crazy. But people just, I don't know why they put 2 scores in the same system for that one. But anyways, Niceville falls tonight at Clay Chalkville in Alabama, 58-14. Pensacola 14-7 over Pensacola, Washington. And that's pretty much it right there on the scores that we've got from the Panhandle. So, man, it's been one of those. We get a week 3 in the books this year.
We hope everyone is okay in the Panhandle. I know that Gordon never became a hurricane. It was a tropical storm, and really not wind, but it was a lot of rain dumped in the Panhandle, around Pensacola, around Niceville, that area, and towards Mobile. So hopefully everyone is good. Sounds like they played most of the games in the area tonight, so I guess everything was fine this week there in the Panhandle. But kind of get back to normal. Of course, Josh, as we were talking about last night when you and I were watching the NFL opener, we're watching the Tropics, but that's a long way off.
We will keep an eye on it, but we will not worry about it. Let's just put it that way.
We're not worried about it, which is good. Again, this morning I woke up thinking to myself, a year ago I was preparing for a hurricane, as pretty much everyone in the state of Florida was. We weren't worried about high school football. There were hardly any games played that Friday. And, in fact, the next week was the same. And this year, we made it through week 3, and hopefully we'll continue to have good weather, and we won't have to worry about that. But a year ago, things were very much different. Here we are in 2018 through week 3 of the season without really any issues.
Yeah, definitely indeed. But, hey, Marty, why don't you stay on the line? I'm going to go ahead and close the show out tonight. How about that?
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, it has been great. Week 3 is in the books. If you missed any scores, just go to FloridaHSFootball.com/scoreboards, and you can find the scores directly right there. And our nomination form will be up in the morning for Rydell Player of the Week, our Rydell Sports Player of the Week. We'll have those nomination forms. That nomination form will be up in the morning, and we'll have that out, and we'll make sure that the coaches are aware of that as well. But or you can actually also, you can also DM into our message on our inbox on our Twitter account at FLAHS Football. You can send us nominations that way as well. So, anyways, guys, it's been great. Week 3 is in the books. Marty, any final thoughts real quick?
No, I'm just, happy to I've had games tonight, and I really like what's going on. We're almost a third of the way through the season. Hard to believe. 8 more weeks in the regular season, and 2 months basically, and we'll be in the postseason. I know that seems like a long way, but the season really goes by fast, and we've got 3 weeks in the books.
Yes, definitely indeed. Well, all right. Well, for Marty Palman, for Alan Slaughter-Sinski, for David Feronis, Bill Daly, John Perry, and myself, Josh Wilson. And if I missed anybody else, I apologize, but I think I've got everybody I've had on tonight. I want to say so long and good night. We'll be back next week. FloridaHSFootball.com radio show on Wednesday, and the FloridaHSFootball.com Friday Night Scoreboard back here next Friday night, right here on FloridaHSFootball.com. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the first weekend of pro football, second weekend of college football. We'll see you back here next week. This has been a production of FloridaHSFootball.com. Copyright 2018, Florida HS Football LLC. All rights reserved.